What is a structure in C sharp?
You know, you usually don't get the word structure.
Right,
Usually in C sharp, people call them structs
right.
because that's the
That's what
keyword.
I've heard.
They're
Structs.
called structures in Visual Basic.net and a few other languages, so I understand why they might use that word. Um, a struct is very similar to a class.
Yeah, I was gonna say they kind of go. They're like two sides of a coin. So you
Yeah.
have. So here's a basic class, right? In our example of our simulation we're living in, we have lots of lots of people, and we have this one class that describes them all. What's a good example of a struct
Um,
in our
so
simulation?
there's a few rules for when we use structs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they're very similar to classes. It's probably important to point out what's different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Behind the scenes, the plumbing is done completely differently in memory. Structs are called by value as opposed to classes, which are by ref.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of the memory being tracked by reference, by an address, it's tracked literally by value. So we try to keep structs tiny.
And things that are I was gonna say more precise.
Yeah, because
Um,
when we pass a variable that contains a struct, instead of just passing the reference to the memory, we pass the whole object. We effectively copy it every time.
yeah, so you don't want something like books should not be structs.
Yeah, anything that's got a huge amount of data, we don't want to put in a struct. So we can make a struct. Let's make a struct for like a GPS point.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Which is going to have probably two floats or two doubles, latitude and longitude, right?
Yeah. So let me go ahead and I'll just call them lat and long.
Okay. So that's a great example of a struct. It has a small amount of data in it.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, we're putting two doubles together. We're wrapping them up into one reusable struct. And just like a class, we can instantiate that struct as many times as we want.
Put G1.
Okay.
Okay. And then we go into G1 and put in the lat. I don't know of 2 and G1 lat of 1. Sorry. Of 3.
I'm trying to remember my geography. So that's going to be near the equator in the middle of the ocean, I think.
Somewhere.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. But yeah, so now we can use those properties that we've put onto that structure. Like I said, the important thing to remember is now if we pass G1 to a method or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
we're literally going to send a copy of G1.
Okay. Right? Each person would have a where they were, where they are.
Oh, okay.
Mike. There we go. So I have this new person.
But instead of the where being an int, the where can be now, it can be a GPS point. Maybe getting
Right.
ahead of you.
Yeah.
You want to call that location instead of where?
Yeah, that's good. Location. That word. There you go. Location, I think.
Yeah, you good?
Well, just in case I don't know how to spell.
No, you're good.
Mike. And then my location would be G1.
There you go.
So is this when so going a little bit in depth, if I want to do GPS point G2 or whatever else equals Mike's location, right? So is this G1 the same as G2 or?
You know, we could find out real quick by just putting a breakpoint and checking.
Okay.
So if we go down to the next line, put a breakpoint there, and actually after that,
Okay.
if we go to G2 and we say before your breakpoint but after line 19.
After line 19.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we say G2
Okay.
dot long equals 4.
Gotcha. Oh, I see where you're going. Good.
Now we can run that code.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we can inspect. Right now, we can go back. First off, we know G1 is going to be equal to 3.
Okay.
At least we hope it is.
G1, the long, is 3.
3.
And then G2, the long, we obviously know is 4. So, what is this telling us, and how do we answer this question?
Well, what it means is we got a copy.
Right.
Yeah. Really, you don't see it too much with assignments. What you usually see it with is methods.
Mm-hmm.
Because you call out a method, it's pretty common. Most intermediate to advanced programmers capitalize on the fact that it's a reference when they use classes. So they'll pass a instantiated object of a class to a method. That method will manipulate the object, and because it's a reference back to the same one, it changes the original object. Structs don't do that.
Right.
So if I pass a struct to a method and it changes the location on Mike,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't actually cascade back to the Mike that I had originally.
Right. And that's because, and I'm pretty sure we have this question, heaps and stacks and stuff like that.
We'll get to heaps and stacks
Yep.
here in a little while, but
So when they ask us, boom, what is meant by a structure?
I mean, you could really wrap it up in the fact that, in one sentence, structures are like classes, but they're by value.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Thank you for watching that video from F12 Programming. Please remember to like and subscribe. That does so much for us in the ratings. You have no idea. Also, don't forget to comment below. I hope you enjoyed, and good luck coding.